Hey guys, welcome back. It is time for another lunchtime live stream. So if you're new to this series, this is a 15-minute series. We don't go over the 15-minute maximum, and we cover different topics around home arcades, gaming, and all that. So all the stuff I focus on the channel. So in front of you right now, you got a bunch of arcade parts. This is all joysticks, buttons, restrictor gates, and things like that. So I wanted to go over a couple of common basics of these things because I think sometimes, if you're new to the hobby, you get into it and there's a bunch of these terms thrown around and people don't necessarily always know what they mean. So I'm gonna pick a basic joystick real quick. This is actually a Sanwa JLF, so this is actually the box it comes in. You'll see this is a pretty popular stick. You'll see this referenced a lot of times in a lot of different places. Some of the newer arcade one-ups like the Marvel Special Edition actually has Sanwa sticks. These are very, very good quality sticks, and they come with a couple different things. So you've got the basic, joystick. This one actually itself, I actually put a tighter spring on this one. So this one's actually has a 4-pound spring. Now a 4-pound spring is going to make this a little bit more stiff. This is actually something that you could do to a stock one-up if you wanted to. So you could actually put a 4-pound spring in a stock one-up. It would give the clone controller a better look and feel. So not look, but a better feel. So this right now is how the clone one comes on. If you look at like some of the newer MK2 arcade one-ups, it has a clone of the Sanwa stick. So it looks similar to this. And by default, this would ship with what's called an 8-way square gate. So this is actually a square gate, 8-way, that's how it goes. So keep in mind, a lot of people also confuse this. This joystick is 8 ways. So it basically has 8 points that it can move. So a square gate is an 8-way gate, and it gives you a maximum amount of throw in each corner. It's actually all even. So the throw is all the same no matter where you are on the stick. That's kind of important. So keep in mind here, I'm sorry, not in the corners, but everywhere else. So something that's kind of important here is that this is kind of the standard for what most people enjoy. However, something that comes up quite a bit is this octagonal gate. I personally don't like the octagonal gate, but some people, you might hear a term thrown around that says if someone plays a fighting game, they like to ride the gate. Meaning they like to put put the stick, like let's say you're doing a Hadouken, they like to put their stick here and then move up like that, right? Like the motion of a Hadouken. They like to keep the stick against the gate. Japanese players tend to actually do moves by not touching the gate, so kind of interesting. But anyways, this is sort of more of a religious thing, right? If you like octagonal gates or you like that feel, you can use that. And what it's going to do is the throw is actually reduced, because if you look to get to certain parts of the octagon here, you're actually moving the joystick less. So it's just a matter of preference, guys. If you get this, it's not like you're going to be like a Hadouken master all of a sudden. So this is a matter of preference. I prefer the square gate myself, which is actually what a Sanwa stick comes with. All right, so we got restrictor gates out of the way, and these are really easy to change out. So you just sort of push in these little pins right here that are on the corner of each stick, and then actually sometimes one gets stuck, and you pop it out, and you basically put the new restrictor gate in. So you basically line that up. Oops. Why can't I line that up? Oh, it's backwards. All right, so we line that up, and it snaps right on. That's all you do. That's how you change that. So simple, easy. This one actually right now has not the 4-pound spring, but the standard stock spring. So those of you that don't like, sort of a looser feeling stick would want to upgrade to the 4-pound spring, which is this guy right here. And if you look, like, it's a lot tighter. To do that, I'm going to try to do this on camera. I was kind of debating on whether I should do this on camera or not, because I'm sure this is going to go flying off. But basically how you do it is you need to, it's going to be really hard to do this on camera. You need to sort of hold this down so that there's no resistance on it. And I'm going to try to do this without killing myself here. Then you need to pop out this pin. I oftentimes use, if you're not holding onto it, this spring will go flying. So I expect it will do that for the camera. Oh God, it's so close. All right. Normally you can get a pair of tweezers and just get it from here. I just don't want this thing to go flying out, so just bear with me a second. but this is how you get it out. There's easier ways to do this. It's just the way I'm doing it right now because it's all I had access to. I know it's gonna go flying, I'm nervous. All right, let's see. I think I got it out without it going flying off. And I did, okay. So I got the pin off. So basically from here, you would take this and take this plunger off, and there's your spring. So you would simply take the old spring out and put the 4-pound spring in. That's what you would do. And then you'd put the new 4-pound spring in, or whatever it was. This part gets a little tricky, so you'd put that back on, you'd put the little top restrictor part back on, and then you'd have to push this in. So this is the hardest part, guys. So hold on, I'm gonna try to do this for the camera, and if it doesn't work out, we'll kind of, so see how this is like this. You have to take this and hold it from the back, and then you push this top part down. I'm not gonna be able to do this on the camera, but basically you push the top part down and get it like about there, and then you need to put the pin back on it. See how I have the room for the pin? This is the part where if you're not holding this thing's gonna fly across the room, and you definitely don't want that to happen because you'll end up losing the pin. Here's the pin real quick. That's the pin. So just be careful, but that's how you do it. That's how you change it out. So if you have a 1-up and you want a tighter feel, you can just put a 4-pound spring on a 1-up. I think Focus Attack, that website, sells them, so that might be a place you go. I'll try to put links in the description. For these lunch streams, I can't get to the links right now because I'm literally going right back to work when I'm done with this. But yeah, I'll make sure to get to it later on today. So that's changing it out on a Sanwa stick or a Sanwa clone. So I'm gonna leave that hanging out there right now, and I'll get back to that later. But keep in mind there are other Sanwa sticks too. So let's say you, getting back to the gates really quick, this is actually a 4-way gate. See how now the joystick can only be moved 4 ways? It's forced into a 4-way configuration. What this would be good for is like a game like Pac-Man. So Pac-Man can't actually register those other, it can't register an 8-way gate or an 8-way movement. So that's important that if you're running something like Pac-Man, you really want it to be 4 ways. I'm not saying it won't work, but your accuracy is gonna be all messed up because if you actually have it in a direction that the game doesn't understand, it doesn't know how to accept that input. So here's one thing that you can do on this particular stick, which is really cool, is on this stick, you can actually turn this and turn it from a 4-way to an 8-way. So this is also a Sanwa stick. And I don't remember the model number of this one, but this one I think only comes in a bat top configuration if I remember correctly. I'm sorry that I can't see all the comments, so maybe Rusty Grill can help me field them. He's in there right now, he's a moderator, so thanks man for joining. But what you do is you just loosen these screws and then you could change the direction of the gate really easily. I don't know if you guys heard all that rumbling, but they literally just did an explosion across the street, so hopefully you didn't pick that up. So 4-way gate, 8-way gate, really easy to change. You just unscrew these and that's it. So this is another joystick that you may be interested in. Now, one thing I love about these joysticks is typically this particular Sanwa, sorry, I was losing track of thought. Actually, I'm done with the Sanwa, sorry about that. So the next thing I wanted to go on to was buttons real quick, and then we'll go to one of my favorite sticks, which is the HAPP stick. So for buttons, this is gonna be your traditional button. Buttons, I think, I like the HAPP style buttons. So HAPP makes their own brand of buttons. I like their button because I feel like the spring they use in the button is it's like just enough. It's not too tight, it's not too loose. But one of your biggest aspects of how a button's gonna feel is actually the micro switch. One of my favorite micro switches is actually this one. This is a cherry micro switch. Now, watch my finger when I push this down. I'm pushing it down and it's clicky, but it's really easy to push down. I like this a lot. This is you still get the click, so you're still happy because you like the clickies, but it's easy, right? Like look how rapidly I can push down on that. So you can like get off moves and like fire weapons or whatever really fast. I love these. Now you look at like a cheaper quality switch. I don't know if you can hear the difference there, but here, I'm gonna put it up to my microphone. I'm pushing it down. It's really hard to depress this. So this is gonna give you a clicky sound, but it's like really, really difficult to push it down. So depending on how you wouldn't think that these components would make that much of a difference, but they really do. I'm a big fan of cherry micro switches just because it gives you this like free flowing movement and you're not pressing it so hard. This one, you're gonna have to press it a lot harder. So I like Cherry micro switches. Those are the ones I usually go with if I'm gonna, build a, do a mod or do a custom build or a restoration or something like that. I don't really care for this one. There's other generics out there. This is actually another Cherry, but just kind of keep that in mind that there are different micro switches that you can buy. Now that covers sort of HAPP buttons. But what about the non-clicky buttons? You hear people talk about buttons being non-clicky. Well, typically what they're referring to is the standard Sanwa button. So this is like a standard Sanwa button. A Sanwa button has the micro switch embedded into it. This isn't this isn't usually something you remove. You usually just buy the button like this, and it comes with the micro switch connected to it. But you can see there's no real click here. People that play a lot of fighting games like this, because see how like rapidly I can push that down. This is going to be more of a fighting game style button. So if you're building a cabinet and you really like fighting games, you probably want to go with something like a Sanwa. You can get off moves really fast, and you can see how rapidly you can click that. And the throw of this button is really short. Like you're basically depressing it like that. Where if you look here, I mean, there's a huge difference in that and. So when people say buttons and sticks don't matter, that's a joke. It really does matter, especially to someone. Here's the thing, it may not matter to someone that didn't grow up in the arcades because they don't know any different, but if you grew up in the arcades, there's probably certain looks and feels to you that you like. So that's why it's nice to explore these different options, because you kind of get to know like what you really like and what your style is. So I feel like that's what's cool about arcades. It's so customizable. And these are only two different kinds of switches. There's leaf switches too, which I'm not going to cover here. I have less experience with leaf switches actually. I'm usually dealing with Sanwa buttons or like a traditional like HAPP style button with a with a traditional micro switch. So there you go on that. So I'm gonna go from that to, really quick, before we go to HAPP, because that's my favorite one, I'll go to generic buttons. So these like LED buttons. I'm not a huge fan of these guys. I really am not. You may like them because they light up. I just feel like they're kind of terrible buttons and they may not last very long. So they're usually fairly responsive. They kind of are sort of modeled off of a Sanwa button, but it's just a generic China brand button, guys. You may find that, and this is an LED one. I personally don't prefer LED buttons at all. It's up to you, really. I think a lot of people are using these, to be honest, and this is no dig towards him. I think he was just trying to teach people how to mod these cabinets on the absolute cheapest way possible. But when ETA Prime created that video, his initial video about how to mod an arcade 1-up, he was recommending these. But I mean, I understand why he was. He was like, look, let's do this the cheapest way possible. But if this is something that you want to have around for a lot of years and you want it to be as durable as possible and kind of give you as close to the arcade look and feel that you want, then I think I would avoid these. I really would. I'm not a big fan, but if it's cheap and you don't care, then, by all means. It's not like you can't play the games with these. I just feel like it's not going to give you the best experience, and these are really cheap. Anyways, so on to the next thing. What haven't I covered yet? We covered octagonal gates versus square gates. Remember, both of these are 8 ways. It's just the amount of travel is reduced. Both 8 ways. That's important to know. 8-way, and then this is 4-way. Hold on. You can see you're restricted in movement, right? Okay, perfect. So there we go. We're done with that. Okay, we're getting close to the 15-minute mark, so I'm going to get to my favorite stick, and this is the HAPP competition stick. So the HAPP competition stick comes with Cherry micro switches. This is how it comes. It gets shipped with your handle, your bat top handle, and the actual base of the stick. This looks confusing, but it's actually really easy to put together, so I'll show you really fast. What you end up with here is you get this little bag of sort of tools, and it has your that little clip on there, which hopefully I don't dump all over the table because I'm looking through the camera, so it's hard to see. So basically what you do is, obviously just pretend like this is going on the deck of a control panel, but you'd put this through here, and then you got this little piece right here that goes on like that. This push goes through here. There you go. There's your, but we're missing a key component here. Then you have your this little plunger thing that goes right down there, which actually engages the micro switches. And then you put on, keep in mind, putting these in arcade 1-up can be a little bit of a challenge, but you'll love these if you do. Oh shoot, I can't hold the handle. It's gonna be really hard to do on a video, but because I don't have anything pressing down on the handle. What I'm gonna try to do is get this down enough to put the pin on. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to. It looks like I got it. All right, hold on. So you're gonna do that. Hopefully this doesn't go flying across the room. And then you're gonna simply click this into place. So give me 1 second. Guys, I can't see the chat, unfortunately, because the way my screen's blocking it right now, and I apologize for that. Next time I'll plan better for that. That's it. That's how that goes together. Again, this is an 8-way stick. I love the way these feel stock. They feel about as tight as a Sanwa with a 4-pound spring. So I love these things. I'm a big fan. They're very, very durable. I love how they return back to center so easily after moving it. It just makes everything feel really, really solid. I'm actually past the 15-minute mark, guys, but I'm gonna go a little bit past it, and then we'll break off for today's session. Here's a little assembly diagram if you forget how to do what I just showed you, but it's pretty simple. And then I think, let's see, what else didn't we cover here? Oh, bat tops and ball tops. So on a Sanwa stick, you've got your, typically what they're gonna ship with is they're gonna ship with a black ball top. You can actually define what you want on some pages when you buy it, but usually it's gonna be black. There's obviously different colored ball tops. These simply unscrew, right? And if you wanna use a ball top, you can screw a ball top right onto this, or sorry, a bat top, you can screw it right onto this. Now, one thing I will say, there's a little bit of a tip here, is sometimes these will actually, and this actually, you can tell this one has the looser spring, so it's very, very loose. I don't like that, so I do everything with a 4-pound spring. But there's a little tip. These sometimes will start to come off when you play. You could put a little bit of plumber's tape on here and just crank it down, and that should sort of keep it staying still. That's usually okay. I mean, or you can grab this. I don't have the right tools with me right now, but you could grab this with a, typically with something like a wrench or something to grab around it. But keep in mind, this base can scratch, so be careful. You might want to put something on it, and then you can kind of crank it down as needed, right? But be careful. This can scratch. So that's kind of, I wanted to go over some basic stuff because I feel like this is one of those misunderstood topics, and it's really not all that complicated when when you get the 101 basics of it. So keep in mind, key things to take away. This is more of a religious thing and how you like to play games and look and feel. North American fighting games, a lot of them did have these 8-way restrictor gates on them, so I think that's why people got so familiar with these. I like the 4-way, or not, sorry, the square gate. I think it's great. I feel like I play Street Fighter best with this, so that's the one that I like to have on my sticks. Plus, I think it's versatile enough to handle the majority of what you're gonna do. Outside of that, if you're someone that wants to be able to change both, there are options that have sticks. This is a Sanwa that you can actually change from 4 to 8-way just by going like this. They have some that you can actually adjust on top. There's all sorts of sticks, guys. This is just two. I'm showing you Sanwa and HAPP. There's a million different kinds. There's a bunch of different clone sticks and all sorts of things. So just be careful when you do this. But if you wanted to do like a minimal upgrade, like maybe you got a new arcade 1-up or something, or even the at-game system, and you didn't want to fully replace the sticks, you can always go the spring route, right? Put a 4-pound spring in it and it will kind of help you out. Some people will complain that a 4-pound spring can actually be a little rough on your hand. That doesn't affect me much, so I don't personally have that problem, but other people do. So I'm just saying it's a valid concern, I guess. But I like the 4-pound spring. It makes it feel more sturdy. But by far my favorite stick is definitely these HAPP competition sticks. I love these things. So, and these I usually get at Tornado Terry's. So if you go to eBay and look up Tornado Terry's, he sells them. He sells them in packs too. You can do like button and stick packs and stuff like that. So unfortunately, I won't have the links in the description until later on today, but hopefully this was helpful, guys. I know it's a topic I've been wanting to cover for a long time, but I just haven't had time to do like a fully produced video. So I know we went over the 15 minutes, but I really appreciate everyone joining. If you enjoyed the content and you're not a subscriber, please consider subscribing. Definitely like it if it was useful to you. And turn on notifications so you can be informed of future updates, guys. But I really appreciate it, and we'll see you on the next one. Take care.